Okay, good morning, everybody. Commissioners Court will come to order. We have a forum today. Today's date's Monday, August the 10th, 2026. You'll please rise to the pledge of allegiance followed by the prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag, of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Commissioner Williams, will you please lead us into prayer?
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day that you have granted us. Father, be with us as we do the business of Mills County. Guide and direct us in all that we do. Bless this, a group of men and women that are here today that are in love with Mills County. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Okay, number 2, review and act on minutes of July 28th, along with the budget workshop, and on August the 3rd. Commissioners, you go through the minutes there, so there's any changes or corrections that need to be done.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of July the 28th and August the 3rd.
Okay, motion's been made by Commissioner Williams, approve the minutes, second by Commissioner Head. All those in favor of approve the minutes, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Number 3, audience with individuals involved will speak today on anything. Mr. John Brown, good morning, sir. Good morning. Come on up here, make sure that microphone is on, sir.
It's the button on top, yeah.
Okay. Good morning.
Yeah.
How are you?
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. Thank you for a few minutes of your time. John Brown, Post Commander of American Legion Post 289 here in Gulfport. I would imagine that all of you have heard the fun story of our fish fry 2 weeks ago. And I'm here to publicly thank Commissioner Williams. At 9 o'clock Sunday 2 weeks ago, when we discovered that only part of the fry cooker was working, we had 120 pounds of fish and 4 cases of hush puppies that we needed to cook in 2 little fryers about that big. And the good idea fairy wasn't helping us out because we were thinking, what on earth are we going to do?
Yeah.
Fortunately, David Schwartz would come over to look at the fryer and say, no, we didn't fix it today. He said, well, I think Jason Williams still has a fry cooker that his grandfather built. So we quickly called him. He's sitting out by the pool drinking a cup of coffee on a Sunday morning, thinking life is pretty easy. And says, yes, I do have that fryer. I'll bring it right over. So he brought that fryer, which has about as much steel as your pickup truck does today. Okay. He brought that fryer over and all the accessories and the bottle of propane and 10 gallons of oil. He got us in business. Our fish fry would have been a complete failure if he hadn't done it. So the Post thanks Commissioner Williams for stepping up to the plate and making it happen. But also, this is a great illustration, we think, of what a great place Mills County is. Neighbors helping neighbors. And thank you very much, Commissioner Williams.
Yeah, I read the story in the paper, Commissioner Williams, comments.
Well, you know, I mean, that.
Yeah, I didn't know he had a swimming pool.
They sure
There's a reason for that, Robert. There's a reason for that, but yes, you know, I mean, a few years ago, to go follow up on this story, the mayor, Jay Wilson, was having a big family reunion out at the lake, and theirs wouldn't. They had a store-bought one, and it broke down, and he called, and it was a little close. I mean, it was Glen Rose I had to run to and get it over there, but I just stayed and cooked theirs. But no, the American Legion Hall has always been a special place for my granddad, as I said in the article, and that was one of the reasons. But I did find out, I need to put kudos to that Robert Womack, if anybody's listening, Robert Womack helped build that, and in his welding shop, him and Horace got down there and built it. So we need to give Robert some kudos too for building that. Back in the 80s. So
he came by, he always comes by donated some, got some fish and said, look, by the way,
Yeah,
I cut the steel for that.
yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of steel.
And it's very heavy, but yes, it's, and I'm not joking when I said in the newspaper that my uncles, they didn't want to clean it. They really don't want to clean it. So they can't pick it up and move it. But anyway,
Well,
So-
one good thing, another good thing that came out of this is this finally convinced Steve Wayne McCaskey to go ahead and donate that fry cooker for the whole cooking trailer to the Lions Club, and then they're going to rehab it because both sides of it aren't working right, the griddle or the fryers. And so it's finally going to get the TLC that it needs, and then it'll still be a community resource. And so that was kind of the tipping point that forced D-Wayne to go, okay, yeah, maybe we do need to do something.
Yeah.
So that was a good thing too, but thank you very much.
thank you. Anytime y'all need anything.
Well, John, thank you for coming. We all like to hear good stories like this.
Now, I'm sorry about the swimming pool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Okay.
Y'all have.
Appreciate you coming. Thanks for the report. Okay, number 4, review and act on accounts payables. Commissioners, you check your accounts payables. Any questions or comments?
At least I was listening.
That's right. That's right.
I have one question. Which is my new thing, but on Road and Bridge 1500,
What page are you on?
so what's the one in the middle of 791?
It's a, fuse. It's the fuse runs the, universal belly dumps. And so the fuse is out. 'Cause we had to replace the wiring and stuff in that one belly dump.
Okay,
So it blew the fuse out.
that's all I have.
Okay. Anything else? Any other questions on accounts payables?
Pretty much the room.
Approval, motion been made by Commissioner Head for approval. I'll second that motion on accounts payables. Any other discussion? All those in favor of approving accounts payables, say aye. Aye.
Yeah.
Any opposed? Ayes have unanimously. Consent agenda. Folks, all the monthly reports from all the departments. Another busy month for all associated with Mills County.
Judge, maybe you clarify this one on, the consent agenda for the facilities report
Yes, sir.
under the law enforcement center. Maybe the sheriff can help with this too. I don't know. It says number 1, it says Weldon Wilson, Jedi on site. What is a Jedi?
He's a warrior.
Yeah, that's what, okay.
Star Wars warrior.
That's what I was just, is that a typo or?
That's gonna be that mini split that we had to put in.
Well, it says Jedi. That's what I
Yeah,
didn't
so
know.
I guess that's what the name of the mini split is, so we had to put a mini split out there.
Okay,
Because we put some of that new
Equipment,
camera
yeah.
equipment in a closet that wasn't cool, so.
and it's called a Jedi.
Yeah.
Okay. I just didn't know Star Wars had made.
Yeah, I missed
I don't
that.
think there's any aliens or anything. over
They
there.
did, they did your mini split out there.
One of those upper scenes and all of that.
Gotcha. I make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
Okay, motion's been made to approve the consent agenda. Second by Commissioner Sullivan. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Consent agenda has been approved unanimously. Okay, action agenda number 5. Sheriff, good morning. Discussion of Sheriff's Office monthly report and related matters.
Judge, thank you. A great opportunity to let those that listen to us out there on YouTube, know what the sheriff is doing to us always.
Well, appreciate it. And speaking of YouTube, I did see your report with Travis Hall and Russ Briscoe on, I couldn't ever find it. It was under Goldway Guide. So
Yeah.
podcast on
Yeah.
YouTube, and very good. Good job you all three did.
Excellent. If y'all want to have an opportunity to look at that, please go and watch that. But those guys do an excellent job. And it also gives the sheriff's office an opportunity to let our community know what kind of initiatives and things of that nature that we're up to. So kind of a platform to be transparent, actually. So besides our Commissioner Court here, y'all see the report there. And you can see that July was another busy month for us. Actually, a little bit of an uptick in July in most circumstances other than civil process. When you look at the total arrests, that's even up some. That usually hangs around 16 to 18. That was up a little bit, so a little bit of increased activity in July. Total new cases, that always is right around in those numbers there. Total new jail bookings is up. Quite a bit from what it usually is, so that June report is usually where we see those. We talked about the civil process, that's certainly a circumstance that we can't control that much, it just depends on what comes to us. One of the things that I will draw your attention to that I spoke of earlier is the out of county housing. You can see there that that's about 18,000 for the month of July, and that's right on the heels of our initiative to increase those numbers. So you can see that what we said we were going to do that's just proof of it there, that we're going to keep the capacity up on the jail so that we can be a little bit more assisted in the incomes that we draw. Citations is up a little bit. You also can see that, working on that as well. So this report just basically gives us the opportunity to show that those initiatives that we're working on, that we're certainly doing that. So thank you very much for the opportunity to come up and talk about that.
Thank you, Sheriff. Have a good day. Okay, number 6, consider an act on approving an order for general election for the November 3rd, 2026 election. Related matters, commissioners will do this all the time. As you see, the election is ordered to be held on November 3rd. Last day to register to vote in this election is October the 5th, 2026. And of course, this also has all the dates. Voting will be at the Mills County Community Center. So I don't know if there's going to be any questions on this. I'll make a motion. We approve this general order for the election for November the 3rd.
Well, so the people are listening, that Mills County Community Center is the early voting.
Yes, early voting.
Yeah, just all the others are still there. I'll second it.
Okay. Motion made by me, second by Commissioner Williams. All those in favor of approving the order for a general election, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Number 7, consider an act on engagement letter from Eckert and Company for the Mills County audit and related matters. Commissioners, we approve this every year. They got the letter to us, Ms. Campbell, I see, and anything I need to add to this? You know, we have a great audit every year, thanks to the Treasurer's Department, everybody, and I've really been impressed with Eckert and Company doing these audits. Any questions on that? I'll make a motion to approve the engagement letter from Eckert and Company for the Mills County audit. I made a motion, second by Commissioner Head. All those in favor of approving the audit by Eckert and Company, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it on that. Number 8, consider an act on canceling the Goldway VFD fuel cards by August the 31st of 2026. This was brought up during, you can come on up, Sheriff, this was brought up during a budget discussion and whatnot about just getting a lump sum payment. Sheriff, do you have a comment on this? Or-
I do, I want to just speak to you all just a moment about doing that. There's got to be a better way to do that than canceling their fuel cards. There's a couple of things that happens there. Now that causes them to have to go out and find a new arrangement with someone. And I think the amount of money that we're talking about in fuel cost is minimal compared to the amount of resources that we get from the fire department. You know, every time we have any kind of a circumstance in Mills County, and I spoke to that before, especially that involved law enforcement, Gulfport Volunteer Fire Department is the first ones there. They are very beneficial to us in lots of ways, and they're beneficial to the county in a lot of other ways. So I would implore you to see if there is not a different way to handle this other than canceling fuel cards and things of that nature. When we talk about the kind of service that they give, the hard work that they go to appropriate all of the things that they have out there, all of those initiatives are on them. Saturday morning, we were running a response program, a drill, just to see how well we could respond to the high school. And every one of those firemen there did that voluntarily of their own free will. So there again, that's another example of, I won't say just gold weight in that drill, because Star and Mullen was there also. When we think of the volunteer fireman period, the amount of free time that they give to the county is, we just can't keep track of all of that. And I'm going to ask you this morning to keep that in mind as you're discussing these things, that what they do for the county is just not replaceable. Every one of them, I've been a part of that for 20 years, and I continue to see it on this side of the fence. So I would ask you to take that into consideration as you're considering this morning as well. There's just too many things that they do, too much that they do, in one, appropriating the resources that they have, even respond in the manner that they do. That's all done on their behalf. So if y'all will, just keep that in mind as you're thinking about that.
Judge, why is this come up? Why are we taking their cards away?
Well, it's brought here to discussion during workshops about,
To
several did
remove
not
them?
know, several did not know that they're using fuel cards and other VFDs were not.
Correct. So that's why,
That's why it's brought up.
yeah, I remember it being brought up. I just didn't know that we had talked about getting rid of them. So
Why would one have it now, the one's not?
I don't know.
I
When
mean, to me, you're
when we
not
give them
taking,
their allotment.
you're not taking their money away. You're asking them to provide their fuel within their system. You're not taking their money away. Fuel cards
There's
is
still
the
money
same.
there, cause
Yeah.
it comes out of the same
Fuel
thing.
cards is the thing in the world to get. It just, I don't think it needs to be within the county. That's volunteer fire department, Pretty is, Mullen is, Star is, they produce their own fuel. Star, I don't know what Pretty does, Star charges theirs at heads and pays for it once a month.
Right, so without getting too deep in how it's appropriated, it wouldn't make any difference if the county's paying that bill, if they paid a credit card bill, or if they paid whoever the fire department had arrangements with for the payment of that fuel. I don't think it would make any difference.
I mean, that fuel card still comes out of the money that we bought,
So,
Yes.
so this is
so.
mainly the source of the situation is, in the past, we have sat down with the volunteer fire department, and I wasn't in a meeting with them this year, so I don't know how that went. But we would allot, we're gonna write a check for this much, the rest would be left in the budget line to pay for that fuel. And I don't think that has happened, that discussion hasn't happened, so if you have fuel charges after the 31st, that statement comes out the 24th through the 26th, you're paying it in the next budget cycle, there's not money there for the fuel if we're writing them a check. So we're trying to find a direction on which way we're going to administrate the budget.
That's the,
So,
Only
So
thing
that's them and PFW.
let me get by. I'm just asking you to please consider what they do for us and how we work this out. So that it is, I think taking fuel cards, that just causes them to have to now go back and figure out another process for fuel cards, or making arrangements with someone here in town locally to charge by the month. And if you think about that, I don't know who's going to do that for them.
I don't know
We pay
that,
for it out of the county funds anyway. I'm not sure that it makes any difference.
I don't think that the county treasurer should be responsible for the Gulf Lake Volunteer Fire Department's fuel.
Doesn't have anything to do with the paying of the bill, that's not hard to do, but like I said, in the past, David would sit down and say, out of this amount you have budgeted for us, I want you to cut me a check for this, so write me a letter for that, and then for the rest of the year, we would pay the fuel out of that, whatever is left in that line. I haven't heard that number this year.
Okay.
All I've heard is, are we gonna keep carrying their fuel cards or not? This is just basically giving me a direction on how we're gonna administrate that money. Because there has to be some, if you are gonna get rid of the fuel cards, then we don't need charges in September. It's gonna roll over into October. And then we're gonna come and you're gonna write me a letter saying cut the check for the 20, and there's not gonna be money to pay for the fuel card.
Yeah.
So these are just administrative things that happen behind the scene that nobody knows about. But we need to discuss these.
So let me get this right. So originally it was just, don't charge after the 31st. It wasn't really to get rid of the fuel cards, correct? Or was it always to cancel the fuel cards at the 31st?
Discussing canceling fuel cards in last budget.
I don't remember we ever said just canceling them. I know I did ask many a times, how do you know how much you're spending? Because nobody had a correct measurement of how much fuel that they had no clue. Right.
There is no abuse or any of that. It's just, I have to have a direction on how we're gonna do this. And I'm hearing cut the fuel cards, but even if I said, don't charge anything after the 31st, somebody's going to, and then when it comes to the bill, there's not gonna be money to pay for it.
So do they when they get fuel, do they present you with receipts?
No, I get detailed receipts when it comes down from the state. When I put state down out of the portal, it gives me detailed receipts.
Okay.
And they're each assigned a number, so I know which ones are VIP cards and which ones are precinct 1, precinct 2, precinct 3. It has all that information with it.
Okay. And so, how many fuel cards do they have?
I don't know, it's not everybody, I honestly don't know. I have to go on the system.
Remember, I think they keep those fuel cards in the truck, so it would be however many trucks they're fueling against those what associated with a fuel card. I don't think they personally carry them.
And then they just go locally to some of the gas stations here.
Whenever that vehicle is used, and it gets refueled, whatever vehicle it happens to be, so if it was a crash response vehicle, then it would get refueled after that response. If it was a firefighting vehicle, it would get refueled. Just like Saturday, I mean, we use the command vehicle, which is seldom used. I would suspect that's what that's.
Well, they do not carry the credit card on their personal item, on their self. It's all in the trucks, is what you're saying.
If I understand correctly, I think that is exactly right.
Okay. I didn't know if they carried it on the person.
Well, when you think of that, certainly that's a different individual that responds in each vehicle each time, so that card would have to be carried in the vehicle. I mean, refuel that vehicle.
So if you wanna leave the cards in operation, how much they're gonna distribute to the VFD directly. Let's just round numbers, you're gonna cut a check, and the file is gonna stay in the line to pay for fuel. But I need that direction,
Gotcha.
that's what I'm asking.
Okay.
How much is left in this budget cycle right now for the Gulf Lake and VFD?
I want to say it was like 7,000, but I could be wrong. He didn't take all of it when we approved it in court.
Hopefully once, I mean, it's 6.5 dozen the other, but I mean, look like to me, if they want the fuel card, they ought to get their own fuel card and it's just gotta get the money and then there's no figuring out how much. money
That way they
have
can
to go.
request the 20,000 October or when the budget turns and
I mean, it's either way, I mean,
And that was, okay, so they have 3,400 left in their line. And so Kevin did this approach, you can ask whatever they use to be check for whatever was left in the line. That's something else we're going to tell them, but it's not.
And so if the fire department has their own fuel card, they have to do all this stuff, either just kind of come in, drive a letter, get your point and go on. I still get some, it is what it's saying.
I want to say we could check for 75.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, something like that. But there was only 13.5
I mean-
this year, so, yeah.
They've been using the county fuel card for years, so. However they want to do it, I guess.
We want to.
However they want to do it, I mean. Like I said, if they had their own fuel card, then they would have to sit there and try to figure out what's out either.
Well, the downside of this is, I mean, we could cut the credit card off right now. She could do that today, but they wouldn't have, so then we'd have to turn around and wait till the next court to give them their money that we,
I would have a statement until the 24th to the 26th of August.
right.
I'd have to pay whatever they use.
And so then they got to get fuel in between that
Well,
time. And
I
so,
would say they ought to get their own fuel card, and then the rest.
well, yeah, I mean, if
That way-
that's the
that
way
way
we're gonna
there's
go,
no-
I think
that
maybe we
way
ought to
there's
put
no
it,
glitch.
I don't want to leave them short.
That way there's no-
I think we ought to do it at the end of the budget cycle.
Huh?
If we're gonna change it over, if we're gonna cancel the cards, we need to at least give them a few months to get their own
Yeah,
card
they
and
need to
stuff
get their
like
own-
that.
They need to get
Or their
their
own,
But everything they charge in September will roll over into October.
Well, I mean, I'm just
So if
saying,
I have to take it out of October, then they won't get 20, they'll get 20, whatever.
Yeah.
Minus what I have to pay on the fuel card.
right,
Or if somebody wants to sit down and have a discussion with them, how much they want to leave in there for fuel, if they'll continue with the fuel card, and how much they want to receive as a distribution. That's what we've always done in the past.
I make a motion that we table this until we can visit with the fire department, Gulf Lake Volunteer Fire Department, and I would make a volunteer to help visit with
Okay.
them if you would like me to do
Love
that.
for you to
Um,
visit and
that's-
build that group, yeah. We'll set that up.
and figure out and come back and we can put this on next
Yeah.
Monday's agenda.
Well,
And
I
so,
You know, times this, I don't want to be, leaving them short either on the short time.
Well, I
frame
know,
like
but
that, and I think that's good.
she needs to know, we need to know. Anyway, I make a motion with table.
Okay, I'll second that motion to tables to the next budget meeting, which will be a week from today. All those in favor of tabling this, matter regarding Gulf Lake VFD fuel card, say aye. Any opposed? Okay. Get that, Julia, everything? Okay, number 9, budget workshop, Mr. Charles Miles, good morning, Charles, you was at the table, or you may not even need to come up here. What we're gonna do is there anything need to be discussed on law enforcement precinct budgets, road and bridge, what we got down?
I think about them.
I think we've torn them apart pretty good, we've had lots of workshops.
No, that's good. Another game, you know, very hard to fight it.
So any questions on number 9, commissioners?
I mean, my biggest my biggest surprise on the last court was two big surprises, Charles, was the road and bridge. That the difference in the funds, that was a huge balloon let out for me, because we really behind on that. And then the only other thing is that showing that we're gonna have a surplus of $400,000 this year after we budgeted for $1 million. Judge, we budgeted for $1 million deficit, and then all of a sudden we're we're up 400 something.
Yes.
I understand that's a guess, I understand, but it's, yeah, but that's a big guess, I mean, but.
Well, first off,
And-
That's a 1.4 million guess.
first off, the road and bridge, the number on the, variable rate, and
Yeah.
all that, Charles deals with the certified numbers we get in.
Yeah, and I understand all that. But, that's my big thing, but you know, after we left here on the last budget meeting, we did a lot of cutting. And, one thing that, we kind of talked about was taking some out of surplus and using some out of surplus, and we didn't do any of that.
Right.
We took everything out of the line items that was requested. And,
What you're talking about is an estimated surplus, but you're not gonna know that until September 30th. So you're still gonna have to, if you're gonna use some of it, you're gonna basically budget a deficit budget. And then that surplus is gonna go in.
correct. And that's where I'm going at this, is that, you know, maybe we ought to put another deficit in. I hate to say that, Dale, don't shoot me. I mean, right next to you, but, and some of that stuff that we took out, we just keep pushing back, you know, year after year. I don't know. It's just, you know, you asked what some of our thoughts were, and that's where I'm leaning.
Well, what do you think of pushing back quick?
Well, the one of some of the precincts and the road hands pushing that back.
That's a,
I mean, that's an every year pushback.
yeah, but that's also every year deal too. I mean, that's not like buying a piece of equipment or something like that where it's 1 year.
I understand that, but we need that help right now,
Yeah,
even if it was part-time. Not a huge fan of the sheriff's department doing away with the vehicle. We're waiting a year, still haven't got a vehicle. We cut it 3 years in a row. Now they're behind in vehicles. That was before even Sheriff Poole took over. That was, you know, and so we're still playing catch up on the vehicle side of that.
Commissioner, I'm glad you spoke to that, and I want to just brief you a little bit on what we're up against. Talk about that a little bit. I have 3 vehicles out of 9 that have less than 100,000 miles. We talk about 2/3 of the fleet that's over 100,000 miles. One thing that does is continue to grow. I understand cutting budgets and I understand budget numbers, I understand all of that, but if we're gonna get to a point where we're not up against 1 or 2 vehicles, we're gonna be up against 3 or 4 vehicles. And when you talk about that number, you're talking about 120 for an outfitted vehicle. So just so while we're thinking about this, can we do this a little at a time? Can we try to incrementally do this? Or do we just keep pushing until we have to? 5, 4, 5.
But we have one vehicle we haven't received yet, right?
Yeah, but
Yes.
so if you order another one, it's
What
gonna be
we're
another
talking
year.
about here, anything that we talk about here is a year long. You're exactly right. Commissioner. And anything that we approve in this budget will be another year off. So the vehicles that I speak of that are now at extended mileage will just be at further extended mileage.
Is the delay getting them from Ford Action themselves or getting them,
Get
refitted?
them outfitted, so when we talk about the amount of outfitting that has to happen with these vehicles these days, it is
Takes a long time to get them outfitted.
substantial. It absolutely is. The amount of equipment that we put in them, that you have to have in them, the in-car cameras, radar systems, all of those kinds of things that have to be in there, all the electronics that's associated, technology that's associated with those vehicles, getting them work. Computer standards where they don't communicate, all of those kind of things, it is just an undertaking, and the upfitters, you can't just take this thing to anyone to do this, this needs to be an accomplished upfitter that does this, and there's just not that many of them in the state, and, you know, it's the same song, DPS is saying the same thing, except they're buying 300 and 400 at a time, so now that's that extra output on the upfitters themselves, because DPS is not even upfitting their own vehicles anymore. So they're outsourcing that as well. So the number of upfitters that we have in the state to do that they're being overwhelmed, and it just takes the equipment that goes in them, the stuff from Motorola and things of that nature, that also is being taxed. Because we're up against a circumstance in Texas where every law enforcement agency was behind to begin with, but now it's having to grow with the influx coming into the state, so that figures is what that whole is. It's, I shouldn't say that because that is partially true, Judge, and what you talked about with the number of PPVs that are available.
Okay.
The two vehicles that y'all have inside the compound, are they just high mileage vehicles or are they not?
540,000. Those are transport vehicles only that we use those for, and we don't even use them. Because I can't see putting an officer in an inmate in a vehicle that's going to go to wherever, or go wherever and pick somebody up that's got 240,000 miles on it. Can you imagine the catastrophe you're up against when you have an inmate in that vehicle, and now you've got to go and get it, and the occupants of that vehicle, that's not even a circumstance you need something wrong.
I don't know, vehicle less than that, so,
Well, I understand that, and you're also not going to South Texas to pick up somebody that's in handcuffs. So if you break down the side of the road, that's a much different circumstance than if I have a jailer out there with whatever he is, right? And now we're responsible for the care, in control of that person.
I guess what I'm saying, Judge, is
The county actually responsible. We talked about that, so that's kind of the mechanism that we're dealing with there.
it's just be considerate to the court here is that, I mean, it's great for this year, but we gotta also look for the future too. We gotta look 1 or 2, 3 years down the road.
I agree.
And we don't need to get ourselves hamstrung on certain issues like that. Especially when we're showing that, you know, our balance and, you know, is so great and so well compared to what it has been in the past. And so, I know it's an estimate. I hear you, I hear everybody, but when you hear that you're gonna get an estimate of 400,000, you were expected to be $1 million in deficit, it's like, whoa. The county did do their due diligence with money this year, so. It's, you know, we asked for people to cut to get us below that 800,000 and everybody just took their pencil out and started cutting. That was pretty nice, but I don't know. I don't know. I just wanted to make that statement before we went on,
Okay.
that, you know, I would prefer that we try to plan for the future a little bit too,
Okay,
not just the here and now.
okay. Okay, anything else on,
I agree, but if we did that this year and we did a deficit, you added employees on, next year you would be looking at another deficit budget or raising the tax rate, which might have to go to a vote,
Which we had a deficit budget last year.
right? But you're talking about 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
We're adding
But
employees.
now tell me if I'm wrong. The only way that you can really raise your road and bridge or your tax rate is basically with a deficit budget, right?
say that again?
The only way you can really raise your tax rate, whether it be road and bridge or the general tax rate, is with a deficit budget.
No,
Its tax rate wouldn't have anything to do with the deficit.
Mm-mm.
But we had the deficit last year and it said if we should have done something, it should have been last year.
The numbers on the no new revenue and voter approval rates drops substantially from last year to this year.
Okay.
Last year, you could have increased, tax rates by 2 or 3 cents, I think that's, 2 or 3 cents. This year, it's less than 1 cent.
They didn't have anything to do with the $1 million deficit last
It
year.
doesn't have anything to do with the deficit.
certified rules, correct?
Yeah.
Certified tax process. Okay, any other questions? Well, the budget workshop aspect?
I guess the only thing I've got, and it's not from anybody, it's from federal, state and local level. I think by looking at what we had in the paper, we've got, of course, I'm not saying anything, we have our FEMA stipend, we have our Senate Bill 22 stipend. Basically, now the county clerk stipend. Is this where this thing's headed? Because if you look at the bill that was posted in the paper, Senate bill with the sheriff or the law enforcement, Senate bill with the county attorney. It looks to me like in the future, you're gonna have a lot of stipend pays. I don't even know if it is in some cases. I don't know if some of them even called stipend.
Some of them, not,
I mean, you can get rid of all of them except for the judge, the county attorney, and SB 22. You can get rid of all of them.
But did you read, or you may have printed it, but what was in the paper, it gave the stipend pay for each one below.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, post it.
notify the
Posted,
public.
yeah.
I mean, if you look at, if you'll study a salary survey that puts out, supplements are pretty common. You may not like it, you can vote against, but when you take them away, that's your house choice, but it's not that uncommon.
It's pretty new though, ain't it?
Well, the Senate the Senate Bill 22 is about 3 years old, maybe 4 years
And we
old.
didn't do it
but-
first year.
The county attorney stipend and the county judge's stipend has been around
Yeah, that's.
a while.
But all of that is posted in that.
Yes, and all that's been posted. The FEMA, we've never had before. And the FEMA, it's just been the last few years on it. So,
but the FEMA has a time limit.
yeah, and then,
There's the other stuff, one of the other stuff, and they don't have,
so,
but
but
the FEMA has a time limit.
Sheriff, go ahead.
Well, the only thing I was gonna say, when we think of stipends, what the legislature is doing is recognizing that a lot of Texas rural counties don't have much money to deal with, so they're just providing those funds when they have the ability to do that, to help out those rural Texas counties, is what they're doing. That SB 22 money is fantastic. The things it helped us out with, as small as it is fantastic. It's absolutely is. It would be very hard for us to get along without that. Because what it actually does is allow us, we talk about salaries all the time. And it allows us to be competitive with the rest of the state. It allows us to pay those individuals for what they do. Then the money left over from that, it allows us to replace things like, guns and things of that nature. Every firearm that we had at that sheriff's office was 5 to 25 years old. And that SB 22 money allowed us to replace that. The parameters of operation of that SB 22 allows us to do those kind of things. So for the state to look down at the little rural counties and say, we're going to divvy out some funds for y'all to operate, is I applaud them for doing that. And I think they've done that in many other circles, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them to continue to do that when they provide stipends for judges and sheriffs and county attorneys, and whoever they provide that for. And they're just looking at small rural Texas counties.
Well, they're doing it for all counties.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just
Well,
rural.
it's one of
counties.
those kind of things, you can't look at the county and say, okay, because you do Reagan. So I'm in reference to Reagan County, just because you have the ability to generate that revenue, we're gonna cut you out of that. When the state looks at that, they say, we're gonna do the same for everyone.
Yeah.
In fairness for everyone. So, you're right, there are those counties that SB 22, whether they had it or not, wouldn't impact them. It wouldn't impact Reagan County. But it would greatly impact Mills County, Hamilton County, Llano County, the rural Texas counties there. That's very advantageous. You look at Williamson County, probably would impact them much, or Travis, some of those. For the state to look down into the counties and say, we need to help them as much as we can, that's extra.
I think it has allowed, yes, the uptick in salaries. But it hadn't allowed one county any benefit over the other one because it's gonna be which county depends to pay the most.
Well,
out of it.
you can also see the ripple effect on that in these data centers. The data center in Abilene, that one that's going in, is bringing in a huge influx of money to the county. So they have in turn, if y'all been watching the news and the radio, and probably Sheriff can vouch for this, they've been raising and hiring more people because they got more people living in Abilene. And so the salaries have gone up in Abilene. So they're stealing from all the area, small
Right.
departments, and then they're going up there and making more money, which then in turns Brownwood's gonna steal from Mills County, or Lampasas is gonna steal. And so then we're not competing even with the Senate Bill 22.
That's
So,
exactly right.
That's like.
it's the ripple effect.
It's like that conference, to talk about the data center, they said that the janitor gets paid $35 an hour.
And just so we've got to keep in mind, even though that's there, it's data centers are going to have a ripple effect across the state.
I agree.
Glad to have this out.
Okay. Anything else? Moving on to number 10, consider an act on proposed tax rate for 2026. So next week, we'll have our public hearing, we'll have our, hopefully approval of all the tax rate, the budget, the salaries, et cetera. Charles, we got, what we're gonna propose, the same tax rate of 0.6061, with Mills County being, make sure my numbers are right, 0.5035, and Road and Bridge being 0.1026. Those are the correct numbers, right? Okay. All right. So, any questions on that, folks? I'll make a motion that we, approve the, numbers I just stated for our proposed tax rate for 26, 0.6061. I made a motion, second by Commissioner Head. All those in favor of approving the tax rate of 0.6061, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, number 11, Commissioner report, Commissioner Sullivan, go ahead, sir.
Well, we're finishing up on County Road 500, the 512, we're working on that now. And then we're kind of slowing down because our budget numbers are getting lower, so we're having to slow down a little bit. So, we will be moving to another road that we need to fix. We're finishing up on the 512 today, this week.
Okay. Commissioner Head?
We find pretty much finished hauling County Road 333, I think we got like maybe 3 loads after it's all said and done. All said and done, the haul later on. Started working it out Friday. We finished hauling it Friday and started working it out Friday and everything, and the guys. So this week we'll be working it out and all that good stuff.
Okay, Commissioner Porter?
Basically, we were blading some roads, hauling some rock in, ditches, a FEMA project over east of Pretty. Parking, I guess it got out that since we're through with Myers construction does not mean that the boxcar project is finished. Myers is just finished. We've still got some dirt work. We gotta rebuild the road around it. We gotta put the fences and the water gaps back in. So
Okay.
we're probably, if I was giving it a completion right now, it's probably at 75%. So got that. We got the bridge still on 112. We've got debris still against the new bridge on 508, which I've talked to TxDOT. They're figuring on them clearing it this time. We will have to clear it from here on out. So we're looking at a backhoe with an extender hose, so we'll have a means of clearing. Because we've got the bridge for whatever it is. We did not design the bridge, TxDOT designed the bridge. So, it's got a lot of pieces to try to get finished and put together. Hopefully in this budget cycle. It will be in this budget cycle.
Okay. Commissioner Williams?
We shredded some right of ways on 512. To let y'all know, I mean, it's both of our freight liners, the one with the sleeper cab is down. And mine is down too. It's some kind of module that we have to get replaced. And so the technician has to come out and check it on site on the machine. So anyway, so Freightliner will be out sometime this week on that. Also worked on County Road, I finished up County Road 408 this last week. So.
Okay, Commissioner Head had something else. Go ahead, Commissioner Head.
Sorry, bro. KW, we had a wiring short, and the air conditioner travel, not out, but wiring short out, and we gotta trace it down. And we will get to it, but not today.
Okay. Right.
But, area, okay,
Okay. All right, anything else? Okay, county judge's report. So Saturday morning, I was coming back through at 10 a.m. and across from the greenhouse in the church parking lot, I saw Mr. David Shaw, our EMC, and Ms. Brittany Hammond for Tatum. And the sheriff alluded to earlier, there had a school safety training deal regarding road closures, et cetera. Had great help from the sheriff department, all the volunteer fire departments. Saturday morning, when everybody's got things, their bids and that's all showed up. But this is regarding if we have that emergency, which we hope we don't, we're gonna be prepared with, road closures and et cetera. So anyway, David did a good job. There's a big, I don't know what you call that chart we have, showing all the streets, aerial photos. So everybody did a good job. So thanks for all of what you did there. The 1888 jail is wrapping up regarding the window seals and whatnot. It's looking real good. If y'all want to go there and look later, commissioners, they've done a real good job. This is Victor Sanchez. And we do have an extreme fire hazard come Thursday, according to KWTX TV. Wind gusts are going to be up to 30 miles per hour. So everyone be very careful outside. We do have a burn ban on, but be extremely careful. And with that, that's all I got. Anything else? I'll make a motion, we adjourn. Second by Commissioner Head. All those in favor of adjourning, say aye. Aye. Any adjourn. Charles, got a minute to come down. I have one real quick question on that.
What purpose may have it on the tissue?
Wait, you might start crying.
Said y'all think I'm gonna get that among
Was afraid.
Jason, you want to look up that Kevin sometime?
Yeah, I'll call him.
We'll have